America needs a tidal wave of the old-time religion.
I have sinned against you.
How dare you!
We have no need to doubt God.
The harlot Babylon is preparing the nations to receive the Antichrist.
I didn't even build that house with money from the church. I built it with money from my book.
I don't make this stuff up.
Repenting of your sin.
It is a moral issue.
They got together and swore a pact to the devil.
I just enjoy seeing people worship, praising God.
Hey everybody, and welcome to
Believe It
or Not,
the show where we believe it
or not.
Not.
Probably not.
Not.
Especially this fucking guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about you or you
no? The guy we're going to talk about.
I thought it was like, especially not this guy.
Sometimes, so you know how I make those videos.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Sometimes I spend way too much time with a specific preacher, and they annoy me, so I have to make a podcast about them, like with Stephen Furtick before.
Yeah.
So this one is about
Stephen Fart Dick.
That's good. That's good.
I hope
That's
he hears that one.
Yeah. Well, they're the only pastor I think that copyright claims. Like,
oh yeah. Well, he's the only one who knows about us, I guess.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah. Today we're talking about Ray Bloody Comfort. Ray Comfort.
Ray Comfort? That's not his real name.
That's his real name.
That can't be his real name.
Yep. Ray Bloody Comfort.
Oh, jeez.
But he's a New Zealand man. He's from New Zealand.
Okay.
And
I thought New Zealand was a good place.
Yeah, you know how often... So the last video, I used a lot of clips from Ray Comfort. And how many New Zealanders were nice enough to apologize for him?
I mean, yeah, okay, it is a good place. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be dill holes there, too.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks like a stock photo.
He does. Is it a picture with him and his dog?
No. Oh, here he is with Penn Jillette for some reason.
Yeah, they've debated. Yeah. He's been on he's done a lot of debates. Yeah, so Ray Comfort, like I said, from New Zealand. He's a minister and evangelist, and mostly known for being a street preacher, though. Like he walks around, he does YouTube stuff where he walks around and witnesses to people and tells them about the Lord. So born December 1949. I don't know a lot about his younger life. He didn't grow up in a particularly religious household or a religious household at all.
But he was born in Christchurch.
Christchurch,
just
exactly.
saying.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, New Zealand.
That's true. Think about it.
You should change it to Satan Hole. Or maybe have a town right beside it called that, just to be fair, I think.
In 1989, though, he moved to the United States of America to take over as lead pastor of the Calvary Chapel Fellowship in Southern California. Calvary Chapel, it was, I don't know if it was founded by, but one of the older pastors, it might have been who he took over for, was Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith was a big kind of evangelical guy. We talked about him in the Jesus People or the hippie episode,
right, yeah,
because he welcomed a lot of the old hippies into his church and worked a lot with the Jesus People. But yeah, so he took over at that church. But his passion has always been one-on-one evangelism, and that he would go on tours and teach how to do one-on-one evangelism. And eventually he decided to do that full time and teach people how to do that, as well as do that, go to the street. Probably just couldn't hack it as a pastor, I guess. But he also had no education in like the Bible or anything like that. He didn't like get a degree in that. That's just, he was going around doing those talks, and then eventually
I feel like that's something where most people don't care about your actual qualifications for.
Yeah, that's true.
Do they really? I mean,
with that, no. Especially like, I think it's a more charismatic church, or more like the Holy Spirit's guiding us kind of church.
Yeah, I mean, like, do people vet their priests and pastors and stuff? Like, do they like, well, what is your basis of knowledge here? Where did you go to school? Do they do that, or do they just kind of like not care? Because I would never think about that. Like, if I went to a church, I wouldn't be like, this guy doesn't have a degree.
Yeah, I don't think when they're hiring, when churches are hiring, they might do that.
Right, the church
But
itself, yeah.
yeah, but if they're like already a famous, well-known evangelist, then they're not going to care if they went to Bible college or not. They're just going to care that, oh, this guy's going to get people in the seats.
Yeah.
So, and
You know who
yeah, in
probably
choosing
didn't go to college? Jesus.
Jesus Christ, that's true.
That's just saying.
Mhm.
Well, he might have went to the School of Hard Knocks.
But yeah, so mid-90s, he hooked up with his good buddy, Kirk Cameron. So we're going to have a lot of overlap with our Kirk Cameron episode because they became kind of partners in crime.
Yeah, crime is right.
Yeah. Oh, one anecdote though that I loved. So watching these videos, he did a video on how to witness to your family, and he was saying that when he first came to the Lord, he was so excited to tell everybody about Jesus. So he went home and he told his parents, and his dad just didn't want to hear it. His dad didn't care, and he did his whole speech to his mom. And his mom's like, okay, cool. So they did like the sinner's prayer together, and she gave her life to the Lord. And a couple days later, they're like talking with somebody, and he introduced his mom, and he's like, this is my mother. She's a brand new Christian. And his mom gets kind of awkward, and she's like, well, not really. I just did that because I felt awkward, and so I said the prayer with you.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course his parents would be like that. Like,
yeah.
come on. Also, it's so juvenile of me, but as soon as you said came to the Lord, I was like, oh my God.
Oh, I love some of the hymns. It's like you just don't know what you're saying. There are like church signs when it says the best way to come is on your knees or whatever.
Yeah. That's great. Get on your knees and let him come inside you, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what? What?
So Living Waters is his YouTube channel, but Way of the Master is kind of the name of the ministry, Way of the Master Ministries. It's all about tools for helping you reach the lost, as well as tracts. They make tracts to hand out on the streets to teach people about the Lord. And he also goes around professionally speaking to people about how to reach people on the street. Yeah, he does a lot of debates as well. So you had a picture there of him with Penn Jillette.
Right.
He goes on the atheist experience when he can, but a lot of places don't really want to debate him or work with him because he doesn't care about debate, and he doesn't care about finding the truth or anything like that. He just cares about the audience. All he wants is more
a platform
ears.
Yeah.
And he's also very open with how kind of skeezy he is in that way. And in the video too, I showed a clip of him where he was witnessing to somebody. Somebody brings up a point and he just shuts him down and makes fun of him and then moves on. And then I found another clip where he's talking about how he does that on purpose, and he doesn't mind mocking atheists, and he doesn't mind making fun of people because he's like, I want to get my point out there. My point is the right point. So I'm just going to control the conversation and keep it on my side.
I mean, I guess I can understand that if you, for some reason, think that you have the the divine power or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah. And
I didn't mean to jump back, but I gotta wonder, how effective is street preaching actually? I can't imagine you have good numbers doing that. I don't understand. Maybe hundreds of years ago when that was the only way to do it, sure, but now, come on. Who's listening to you, really?
Exactly. And it's not like the average person on the street hasn't heard this stuff before.
No.
And
if you go to Young and Dundas,
yeah,
who's listening to those people? The only people I can imagine who would listen to them are people who already believe what they're saying, or people who want to get in a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime I'm there, I just I have to walk away because I'm I'm just going to start yelling back at this guy because what they're saying is so stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because what he does too is he does do the standing on a box or whatever platform yelling and into a megaphone kind of thing, but he also does a lot of one-on-one where he has his YouTube channel, and he has a couple videos about how he does it. But basically, like, he gets up, he rides around on his bike with his dog, and his dog is very cute, and that gets people's attention. But he also has like tracks and stuff, and he has a card with the website on it, what they do, and then he gets them to agree to talk. And he's very, very formatted in what he says.
Right.
So he pretty much any of his videos are him controlling the same conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the way it works is, so I took some notes from a couple of videos, but he usually starts it off with, what do you think happens when you die? Should I try witnessing to you using his methods?
Sure. Let's try that out. Let's do a little social experiment, if you will.
Okay. Damien, what do you think happens when you die?
I think you just die and then you rot and nothing.
So you think you just go into the ground and that's it? That's the end of
it. Yep. Poof. Done.
And then, actually, yeah. So if he gets that objection, he usually goes into, but I can prove to you that God exists in 2 minutes.
I doubt it.
In 30 seconds. Yeah. If you look at a painter, if you look at a painting, you know that there's a painter. If you look at that building over there, you know that there's a builder. Right. So when you look at the world around you, you know that there's a creator. And the creator actually gave us this book called the Bible. And in the Bible, it gave us instructions called the 10 Commandments on how we're supposed to live our life. Damien, do you think you're a good person?
Well, first of all, I'm going to address your stupid argument about painters and builders proving that there's a God, because this does prove nothing, because you're pointing out these things that we have proof of people doing in real time. You don't have any evidence of showing someone creating these things. So
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous argument that makes no real sense. It's this thing where you're trying to aha gotcha, and it's not aha gotcha.
Yeah, he does the aha gotcha and then quickly tries to move on to the next question and like own it. So Damien, do you think you're a good person?
That's none of your fucking business.
Oh, have you ever told a lie?
Yes, everyone has.
Have you ever stolen anything?
Probably something small, nothing big. And I think most people have too. And I think if you haven't, you're probably lying.
And have you ever used God's name in vain?
Yes.
Do you know how bad that is?
It's not.
It's blasphemy.
It's not.
God says if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you have committed adultery in your heart. Have you ever looked on a woman with lust?
Every fucking day, my friend.
So basically, you have broken the 10 Commandments, and you admit that you're guilty and you're a sinner. You said yourself you're a lying thief. So the Bible says that if you tell Jesus about it, then he'll take that punishment.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that I can be a total piece of shit, but if I believe in Jesus and pray to him, then everything is forgiven. So if, okay, hypothetical for you, Mr. Street Preacher, if I was, say, a child killing, but I prayed to God, would I be a good person?
You wouldn't be a good person. There's no good people, but God would stand. Jesus would stand in for you to take that punishment.
So you're saying that I could do all of this terrible shit. I could murder people. I could steal from them. I could commit adultery. I could do all of this stuff. But so long as I say to Jesus, "Hey, I think you're cool. I want to pray to you," everything is forgiven?
Well, the Bible says if you have hate in your heart, then you are as guilty as a murderer. So
right, so you're equating being angry with murder.
Yeah.
Right. Yet I'm the bad person. You understand the false equivalency there. You know, that's like kind of like saying like, oh, a paper cut is just as bad as being decapitated.
I knew a guy who got decapitated by a paper cut.
I mean, it must have been a big piece of paper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy because and then he goes into, so the Jesus takes the punishment. He always has this thing about if you're standing in court and you're guilty, God knows you're guilty. But if Jesus comes in, the judge knows you're guilty, but then if Jesus comes in and says he'll take your punishment, you're still guilty. But it's like that's not how courts work. You can't be like, I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, I really hate this line of arguing. I saw a video recently about someone arguing that stuff too, where they were saying that, again, like you were saying, if you kill people or do this stuff, so long as you pray, I think you're a better person than someone who doesn't. And I think it's such a gross. Yeah, it's such a head in the sand, just kind of ignoring the reality of what things are, and it kind of goes back to what we've said before too, where these people are so focused on the next life that it's almost disregarding, as much as they pretend to care about this life that you
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't understand. It's such a weird contradiction that I really don't get.
Yeah, and it's these people who he does this so much, but it's like even that when I was on that other podcast when um the guy called in and said that because of morals
Mhm.
we know that God exists or whatever. He just had like a series of questions that I was supposed to answer yes or no to, and they do this a lot where it's like if you see this, then you see this. And it's like, well, can we have a conversation? Or are you just going through a checklist of things that you
Yeah.
want me to agree to?
Right.
Because I don't agree with the premise. So why am I going to agree with like the next step kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad and stupid. And it like you said, it's hard to tell like what this does. Like I don't think
Mhm.
most of the people on his videos, it's not like they're stopping and committing their life to Christ. Some of them
No.
might say, "Oh, you gave me something to think about," because they don't know how to get out of the conversation.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't prove anything.
yeah, the thing is too, he also does this like if you say you're a Christian,
Mhm.
that doesn't make him stop. He's going to keep going and prove to you that you're not, so that
Oh,
he can get that conversion,
or that you're not the right kind of
Rather
Christian,
than- yeah, exactly.
which is also fucking insane.
Christian in name only. And the thing is too, he does it in such an annoying way where every phrase he seems to say is memorized, and you'll see him in different shows use the same phrases to explain things. Like
Mhm.
he doesn't think that you can lose your salvation or you can stop being a Christian. So if somebody says they're an ex-Christian, he says that they were never really a Christian to begin with.
Oh,
And
get
he always says, if you're a real Christian, if it's a real conversion, you put your hand to the plow and you get to work. And it's like, yeah,
That's the No True Scotsman thing all
Yep.
over again, right? Yeah.
yep.
So
And
stupid. So dumb.
he's so let's see here. He is a young Earth creationist. He says there's no such thing as evolution. It's all just made up. He wrote a book, and him and Kirk Cameron handed it out. Where he didn't write the book. He took Origin of the Species on the Origin of the Species, and then just wrote like a foreword to it, saying why the book is wrong, and then handed it out for free at like colleges and stuff.
I mean, that's kind of funny. We should do that with the Bible.
Yeah, that's true. Like when people have those stickers that say warning, this is fiction or whatever, and people put it on the Bibles in hotel rooms.
Yeah, any likenesses to people, real or otherwise, are
Yeah.
purely unintentional.
Yep.
Oh, I just saw a thing. Was it who was it? It was one of the senators in the state saying that women used to be attracted to men who could protect them from dinosaurs. You know, like in that documentary film series, The Flintstones.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen that thing too, where it's like if a meteor killed the dinosaurs, then why did humans survive?
Right.
And someone was like, "Yeah, social distancing. They had 65 million years apart."
So stupid.
Yeah. And again, as well as he has no formal education in theology, he has no formal education in science. So as much as he goes around saying that evolution is a fairy tale for grown-ups.
Greatly underqualified to make judgment calls on these things.
Yeah.
Very common for people to do, actually.
Yeah.
I would say, religious or not. I mean, especially with a lot of medical things, with COVID. I mean, I feel that there's a lot of people who like to think they know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like to point out their opinions of, I do my own research. You bought a lab?
Yeah.
You went and got your master's or your doctorate?
I got an online doctorate from DeVry.
Yeah.
Or Phoenix University. Is that the one that's all online too?
Yeah.
Phoenix.edu.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a sponsor.
So yeah, all his arguments seem to be that same watchmaker argument. Like, you look at this painting, there's a painter. He made a movie called Atheist Delusion, kind of a response to the God delusion. The basic argument throughout the thing seems to be that a book has a writer. When you pick up a book, you know that it has a writer. And you know that it has an illustrator or whatever and a publisher. So when you look at DNA, which is like a book that tells us what we're going to be like, then there has to be somebody who wrote that book. And with all the data that's in there, it's like, well, we use the term data to like simplify it for people, but it's not actually like a
Yeah.
computer code. It's an yeah. It's
So it's
but
such a
yeah,
flawed argument that seems to be the basis of every point that they're trying to make.
yeah,
And it's just like if every argument you're making is predicated by this one very broken kind of idea, then it totally invalidates almost everything you have to say.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
like what's the point of listening if everything you're saying is just reiterating this one point that has no well, it's also something that truly you can't I mean, it's one of those things where there's no like right answer to it because it's kind of an unprovable, you know what I mean? It's one of
yeah,
those things where it's so intangible that, you can't definitively say no it isn't. I mean, we can, I think. I
yeah,
think we can. But
yeah,
you understand what I mean, right?
yeah,
There's it's not something that you can point to evidence and be like, well, this is yes or this is no. It's kind of like, well, I yeah.
yeah. No, yeah, I hear you. And another famous example of him doing this same thing is the banana. So he is the banana man. We talked about this
What?
in the Kirk Cameron episode.
Oh, right, the stupid argument.
Yeah. So his argument is like you pick up a can of Coke and you don't think that it was created or that it magically happened because soda fell into this metal thing and then paint landed on it in this right configuration, but you pick up a banana and it's specifically designed for the hand.
No, it's not.
And yeah, exactly. It's years of breeding, and bananas used to have giant seeds that you can bite into it.
Yeah,
And
a lot of man-made cultivation.
yeah, exactly. And he
Yeah.
got mocked relentlessly for this, and he's like, "It was a joke." It's like, no, it wasn't. It's the same thing you do with everything.
But even still, a lot of those things, they evolve in order, like the ones that are evolved to be eaten are evolved, like they evolve that way for specific purposes.
Yeah,
And it's not just like, well, God created this, so it fits in your hand. It's like, no, no.
yeah.
It evolved so that it would be eaten, so the seeds would be spread.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's
Nobody ever like looks at a virus and says,
mhm.
"See, this is evidence that God exists,"
Yeah.
because and that's something that evolved over
Mhm.
time to.
Yeah, to perfectly interact with your body and
Yeah,
attack it.
exactly. Yeah, and people called him out for this. So he eventually made a movie called The Fool.
With Steve Martin?
No, no. It's about him being the banana man and being seen as an idiot for that,
Yeah, well.
and he went on tour and basically reiterating his point. It's like you're doing a mea culpa, but you're also just reiterating your Watchman argument that you keep doing over and over again,
Right.
Watchmaker argument. And he invited a bunch of atheists to come see it. He said, "If you're an atheist, come see this movie. I'll give you free banana splits, and we'll watch the movie."
I mean, I don't really like banana splits, so I'm out.
I love banana splits. Very
Yeah.
tasty.
I like a good sundae. I'm not a big banana guy.
Mm. But
Bananas have
then,
like a 3-hour window for me.
oh, okay, I love bananas, but it's like a peanut butter banana sandwich, tasty.
Okay. Yeah. Fair
Banana
enough.
split, tasty. I
Mhm.
don't often just eat a banana on its own, but you know
Mhm.
what, Damien? You know what?
You
Sometimes
might?
I will. Yeah,
Oh my god, you're out of control.
I know. But yeah, so he gave everybody this little cup with like one piece of banana and a little bit of ice cream, and that was their banana split. Like it was just like the smallest thing possible. And then he just used it as promotion for look how many atheists we got out to see this movie, and
Because you
use that
tricked them.
as a way to like say he's out there saving souls, so then he can just make more money in donations and stuff.
Also, getting atheists to see it doesn't mean you're saving souls.
Exactly. It's not like everybody converted at the end of it. Like,
No.
oh, good point. I am a lying sinner who thieves.
I mean, yeah, I am. I'm not converting though.
Yeah, exactly. I've broken the 10 Commandments. I've broken a lot of other rules too. Like I pirated a.
Yeah, I would argue that everybody is a lying sinner.
Yeah,
Everybody has done these things constantly, every day,
exactly. Yeah,
in some minor degree or whatever. There's no avoiding it. That's just human nature. That's who people are.
yeah,
I don't think that makes them evil. I just
Yeah,
think
exactly.
that's just who we are.
Well, it's like I'm doing some I'm pulling clips and stuff for my next video, and I'm talking about purity culture.
Hmm.
There's a couple pastors who are like, well, the thing is, when you start having sex when you're not supposed to, or you start looking at pornography when you're not supposed to, or in general, then that also introduces the sin of lying because you have to hide what you're doing. And it's like, you have to hide what you're doing because you're the one making them feel shamed for
Yeah.
acting on their own natural desires.
Yeah, no
It's like,
kidding.
you're the one that's adding that second sin or whatever in there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not worried about sin, you're telling everybody that you're having sex.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I mean, it's like, come on, people make like micro lies like all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times when I think it's better to lie than it is to not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not necessarily like a bad thing. Like there are situations where you need to lie for your own safety, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Yeah.
it's not this black and white good and evil thing. That's just not how the world works. It's not what people are.
That's exactly that's why one of the many reasons I have issues with leaving the term sin, and that idea of sin is because there is there is gray areas. There obviously is gray areas, and even in the Bible, there's stories about somebody like people lying to save their lives, and they're not punished for it. That's just what they do because they're saving their own lives.
What about God lying to people?
Yeah,
isn't that a sin?
Exactly, and he did it all the time in the Bible.
Yeah, I feel like he tricked people a lot.
Yeah,
and was a real bastard and killed a lot of people.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah, but he gets a free pass.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he quote mines a lot too. So he makes a lot of these videos. He a lot of the YouTube stuff he just records himself, edit them himself, put them up pretty regularly. He also remix them into different things. So he's constantly putting out videos and
remixed them.
Yeah. So he'll do I talk to all these transgender people, and so he'll do a compilation of all the times he talks to a trans person, and obviously just mocks them and is very transphobic.
Yeah, like a good, kind Christian would do.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's a piece of garbage. He's just constantly putting out stuff, but he also makes these movies, which are just really just longer YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a little bit more of a crew for and things like that, but that has a lot of quote mining and using people out of context and asking leading questions and then only picking the parts that he wants them to use. Yeah, which a lot of people. He also, he's been doing this for many, many years. So since the 80s, he's been going around arguing that evolution isn't real.
I gotta wonder how many converts he's gotten in that time.
Yeah. Well, he got Kirk Cameron.
I'm really curious what his percentage is.
Yeah, does he keep stats of maybes and yeses? And
you can't. It would be so depressing.
Those people, all you can do is when there is a hit, you just you put that on a pedestal. You're see, I got somebody.
Yeah.
And even in that evangelism video I worked on, they talk about when somebody's hurting and you get them because they're in a lot of pain. If you come to a person at the right time when they're questioning things, and then you get them, and he's going out there multiple times a day interviewing people. He's going to get somebody who's having a bad day. And so if that person's you came to me at the exact right time, that's not a miracle from God. That's because he's constantly out there. And
that's predatory.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gross.
Yeah. But yeah, so all these years he's been doing this and saying that evolution isn't real. He still hasn't figured out that the Big Bang Theory and abiogenesis are different things.
Yeah, one is a very popular sitcom, and the other
is a soon-to-be popular sitcom starring Trevor, Poelman, and Damien.
Oh, well, look for that on CBS this fall. That'd be nice. If they want us to be in a sitcom, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. If you guys want us to, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. I feel, again, it's people who are underqualified. They don't truly understand what they're arguing against. They don't truly understand what they are arguing for, it seems like, half the time.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
His credibility kind of seems out the window. I mean, not like we necessarily know, but we're pretty open about not knowing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing about not knowing too is he's interviewing people in the street. So
Right.
if they are interviewing people about evolution, he's not interviewing the experts. He's interviewing
No.
some random Joe, and if he can find one hole in this person's logic or one thing that this person doesn't know about evolution, then all of a sudden he's pwned them, and he's like, "Gotcha!
Yeah.
See, it's Jesus Christ from the Bible did it."
Right.
And yeah,
What?
if you don't know where that missing link is, then it's Jesus Christ from the Bible did it. Yeah,
It has
it's
nothing to do with an imperfect fossil record due to them being, like buried deep underground.
yeah.
And a lot of that stuff was lost because of plate tectonics and, all these things moving and changing. But no. Jesus did it. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
A magical sky sun came down and did all this stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
He asks questions like, which came first, blood or heart? Like, because he's like, well, you need to have a blood pumping muscle, but how do you evolve a blood pumping muscle without blood? And then if you have blood, then how do you? It's like that's like the simplest thing. You're not stumping anybody who's even looked into this slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also does the same thing with gills or lungs. But it's like, we have a lungfish that has both. Like there are like fish with lungs right now. So
yeah, well, the thing about that though too is like that doesn't matter because you're looking at something that's so complex and saying, well, what happened? That's like looking at a car and being like, well, what came first, the windshield or the engine? It's like, no, that's not how it worked. These things started out very, very simple, and they gradually, what's the word? Evolved and progressed and became what they are now. So to look at a finished product and say like, well, which part of this was first is such a non-argument.
yeah,
It's like, no, we started as very, very, very simple organisms, and that through time, through adaptability and changes to their environment, changed and evolved and became more and more complex.
yeah.
That's what happened. And we know this because of convergent evolution, where things developed in different parts of the world at different times, but with similar functions. It's like, yes, it's environmental. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I saw a really good point too the other day. I don't remember who did it. I'll try to find where I saw this, but somebody was talking about how they always argue from complexity. And they always say it's so complex, there must be a designer. And it's like, yeah, but a really good designer does it simplistically and finds the simplest way to do it, not the most complex way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just arguing from, I have my theory, this is where we are, or I have my beliefs, this is where we are. I'm just going to find ways to mash them. And it's not,
Again, it comes back to like, if you believe that things were created like very quickly, so it makes sense that something complex would have to be designed.
Yeah.
But if you actually like think about it and you realize, oh no, this took a very long time to do and it was very gradual, then it makes a lot more sense that, oh, okay, maybe this wasn't just created.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like because the master craftsman can build up to 8 birdhouses an hour.
Right. Yeah, but the master craftsman doesn't make the wood, right?
Right. That's true.
So
we talked about this on the Kirk Cameron episode, so I won't go too much into it, but there's a debate he did on, I want to say ABC, where it was him and Kirk Cameron, and they're debating two evolutionary scientists. And their evidence was he held up a picture of the Mona Lisa and said that same thing. When you look at a painter, you know there's a painting.
I feel like we're running around in circles this episode.
Yeah. And he also held up he's like, if evolution were real, then this creature would exist, and it was the crocoduck. His famous crocoduck, which is half crocodile, half duck. And
why would it exist?
Because if evolution exists, then this would exist. End of thought.
What?
Yeah, I'm sure he had some reason.
What?
And my favorite was when he did this, and it just shows one of the evolution guys, and he's like, "What a numbnut."
I just don't understand. Like, if it existed, why would that exist?
Yeah, exactly.
And also, look at all the weird animals we do have.
Yeah, and they have found something very similar to half crocodile, half duck. Like fossils of it, so it kind of did exist. He also said, I don't believe that there's a crocofish as a missing link or a fishapod. He's such an idiot.
There there were very crocodilian
Yeah.
marine life, like fish kind of creatures.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this argument. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why saying like, well, this should exist is a proof for it not exist, like
Yeah,
not being
exactly.
real. That doesn't. It's like, well, if God was real, then there should be a two-headed Mecha Jesus.
Yeah, and where's the
because there's
two-headed
not,
Mecha Jesus? Yeah.
because there's not, no God.
Mm-hmm. And
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
I feel like a divine and just creator could create a two-headed Mecha Jesus.
Yeah, I think so too. And Mecha Jesus would walk around healing the nations and
True.
giving everybody sweet apricots.
Yeah, and he could transform into a cool truck.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And drive around to different
with
places.
Machine guns on the side.
That's true. To kill all
his
the
enemies
sinners
and the demons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so another thing that young Earth creationists do is they say that if you do point out any sort of like change in a species, it's not evolution. It's still in the kind. They say each to their kind. So a monkey will always be a monkey. A bird will always be a bird. Like a pigeon will always be a pigeon. There might be different types of pigeons, but
right.
there's still going to be pigeons.
So are they saying that we're still apes then?
No, we've always been human up into our kind.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't make sense because the problem with that is that you're only looking at a lot of short-term changes in these things, not things that take hundreds of thousands of years to do.
Yeah, and it's very clear in any interview I've seen him in, and any sort of training. He does a lot of training videos on like how to convert people. He doesn't care about what the other side's opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
He really just doesn't.
I'm not
like,
surprised.
Yeah, if he asks for evidence for something and then somebody immediately delivers that evidence, he'll brush it off and move on to the next thing because in his mind, that's not the point. The point isn't I want to find evidence. The point is I want to show that my God is real. And I want to convert as many people to my God as possible.
And like, look, like we're both fine. Like if someone wants to have an actual debate about theology and come in with some actually debatable and thoughtful points, I think that's healthy. I think that's constructive. I think that's a good kind of discourse. But this guy is just so like, it's not in good faith. It's not in good spirit. It's not anything productive. It's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, he's not a really big apologetic. I mean, he considers himself an apologist, but he's not because he doesn't actually have good arguments for the existence of God, or really any arguments for the existence of God besides the one. So I guess in that way, yeah, he has the watchmaker argument, but pretty much it's like he's just assuming it's real and you need to convert. You're a bad person and you need to convert.
Right.
Well,
from my standpoint, I think that he is he's probably lying all the time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what he's talking about, so he makes it up.
Exactly.
And by his logic, that would make him a bad person, would it not?
Yeah, I would say so. And you know what else makes him a bad person is this movie he made called Audacity.
Why did he make so many films?
Because he does them on iMovie. And he does them very quickly. And he's constantly putting out material. So he's constantly writing books, but they're just like, very short, very things, like small things about
more like
to the Lord.
Novellas.
Yeah. And he makes tracks and he makes these movies. But Audacity was like a movie with actors and stuff. It wasn't just him interviewing people on the street and calling it a movie.
Okay, so this was an actual film.
Yeah.
Motion picture.
They would say, they would consider it a film. And it's just about why being gay is bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I guess it's more, I haven't seen it, to be honest. But it looks like, it's more aimed at Christians, telling them to call out people for being gay, as opposed to the movie itself calling out people for being gay.
What
so
a
it's
sad fucking life you have to live if that is like something that you feel is important to do.
Yeah. So, he just has a lot of really shitty opinions, and he's out there every day. I could go on. There's so many other just awful things he said and done, but it's all going to come back to his scripted, do you think you're a good person? Have you ever done this or this? Mm-hmm. And then you come to the Lord kind of thing. And that's basically his life is Groundhog's Day. Like he's just
Yeah.
saying the same things over and over again and thinking that he's having conversations.
Well, I mean, in a way, I feel like that's kind of a divine retribution.
Yeah.
Because he has this sad repeating existence where, he's constantly fighting this uphill battle of nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
Chasing windmills and, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and he does the $1 million track too. That's him. So that's like the fake $1 million bill. So you hand it out.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean,
leave
first
it
of all,
instead of a tip.
Who's gonna see $1 million bill and think, "Oh, you got me"?
I actually heard a story. I think it was on NPR about a guy who found one and thought it was real and like went through a lot to try to prove that he has $1 million bill. And then it turns out it was just Ray Comfort's.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, this is one of my favorite things about him.
Wait a minute. Sorry, isn't that lying?
Yeah, that's lying.
You're deceiving people.
And if you're making it look so much like a real bill in order to trick people, that's got to be illegal. Yeah, that's got to be counterfeiting.
That's a federal offense.
Yeah. And so he has the $10,000 challenge, which is a standing $10,000 challenge to anyone who could show him a transitional fossil. But anytime somebody shows it to him, he just dismisses it and like, nope, that's not what I meant.
What does he mean then?
He means like a sheep giving birth to a chicken kind of thing. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about, so he just dismisses everything. It's like worse than that Futurama episode where it's like, yes, but if you can find a link between these two, oh yeah, that's this one. But if you can find a link between, that's this one. And then as soon as but it's like worse than that because he doesn't understand even like the idea of how evolution works.
Right.
Even if it was fiction, at least understand what people believe about it. Yeah. But no, my favorite thing is when he got mad when somebody referred to him as a bibliophile. Because he thought that meant somebody who fucks Bibles. He thought it was a cross between pedophile and Bible.
Yeah, it's where you drill a hole in the side of the book and then you fuck the shit out of it. Yeah. I find it also really funny that those people who are like, well, show me this link, show me this link, show me this link. They all of a sudden want all this proof for things. But as soon as you ask it about anything with God, they're just like, you just have to believe. You have to have faith.
Yeah, and the classic, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist too. Are you saying faith is a bad thing? Because a minute ago it seemed like you were saying faith was a good thing.
It doesn't make any sense. At least the faith we have in this is backed up by some sort of repeatable process and theory, and it changes.
Yeah.
It evolves, if you will.
Exactly.
Unlike your unyielding support for a divine sky daddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Speaking of support, though,
should
we go in and thank our patrons?
Let's thank our patrons.
Oh my God! Wow! Thank you so much. Wow. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody, and thank you so much for coming to our Bible study. It's been a wonderful, chilly night, and I'm so glad that we're all sitting around this warm fire and just talking about the Lord and his rod, how it comforts us with his rod.
His rod does comfort us. Every night we go to bed comforted by his rod. We can feel it inside of us, and it makes us feel good, and it makes us feel strong. And when he just blasts off with that power, I gotta say, there's nothing like it.
And it's just like they say, deep and wide. It doesn't matter. He'll be there.
Yeah, so long as it's inside.
Yes. Amen.
Amen.
And, but we have some people to thank, don't we?
Yes. I think we need to thank our friends Ryan and Rebecca and Mariana and Michael. And we can't forget Ted and Whitney. So thank you all. Thank you.
Amen. And I have a quick prayer request here for Paul. Paul's a very nice chap, I guess you'd say. Very kind individual. But it's like only high fives, bud. Never low fives. Like we're just supposed to walk around only ever giving high fives. It's like, I like you, bud, but every once in a while, we're in a business meeting, we're in
True.
public. Low five is much more professional in that situation. We're at a wake, we're at a funeral.
Sometimes you need to keep it down low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just pray for Paul that he learns the error of his ways.
Thank you, Paul. And I have a prayer request as well for our friend. I believe is it Coffee?
I think it's pronounced Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. So I have a prayer request for our friend Coffee. They've been going out a lot and, just standing in line and ordering tea, and it's really confusing the baristas. And like, listen, a tea for coffee, like, what does that mean? They don't know anymore. I just think that, if you're gonna be named, if your name sounds like coffee, you should order a coffee. That's just what I think. But what do I know, right?
Amen. No, we'll lift him up in prayers tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I just have a quick prayer request for Dick Ritchie, and nice guy as well. Very sweet individual, but he insists on doing the that Batman handshake. Every time you do a handshake, it has to go up into it has to end with like doing the flutter, like the. It's like the Batman, Superman kind of thing.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
the Batman? Right.
Yeah, and
listen, I don't read comics. There for the devil.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, yeah, and again, there's a time for that. But when we're working on a merger, I don't want to go into the Batman. I feel like the Batman is going to change things. And but that's just me. But we'll lift him up in prayer, and maybe lift myself up in prayer to see if I need to have a change of heart.
That's true.
When I view the Batman.
I might need to have a change of heart about everything I've said too. Sometimes we need to reflect on our choices and the things we say, and I'm ready to be lifted.
All right, let's lift us all up.
Lifted and gifted.
Well, let's do some Christian rock lyrics.
Let's hear it.
Can't you see you're not making Christianity better? You're just making rock and roll worse.
I figured Ray Comfort is annoying, and he he puts himself into conversations where people don't care about him, or he's yelling at people in the streets. He's annoying is basically what I'm saying. So I thought I'd do a Christian rock lyric for a band who tells a story about them being annoying as if they did something cool. This song is called God Good, Devil Bad by, I think, returning champion DeGarmo and Key.
Yeah.
And it goes as follows. I met a man in a Nassau hotel, a strange man to my eyes. He had a tattoo on his arm of Jesus and the devil side by side. I found the nerve, so I say, hey, buddy, just what's the matter with you? Don't you know you can't serve two masters? A real man's got to choose. I said, who do you love? Who do you serve? Who do you love? There's 4 simple words that you better learn. God good, devil bad. It's the elementary truth. It's the law of the land. God good, devil bad. And every child on earth, he's got to answer God good.
Did the person who wrote this song have brain damage?
I guess so. Like, I don't know any other explanation.
Or were they 5? I don't know. That is so funny.
Yeah. I forgot about this song completely. Found it today, and I was like, oh my God, how will we not use that yet? Yeah, it's like, what was the idea? Like, they're sitting down to write the song, and they're like, well, I really want to do a song about how God's good and the devil's bad. Ooh, that's a tough one. What if we called it God Good, Devil Bad? Quit drilling, you struck oil.
I also like it was like, oh, this guy has tattoos. That must be what he believes in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a classic tattoo too. Like God and the devil, kind of like the good and evil kind of thing.
It's like all iconography. Yeah. People like the pretty pictures.
Yeah.
Just like because you have a pretty picture on you doesn't mean that's your whole world belief.
Yeah, exactly. I have a tattoo of a rocket ship and a robot. That doesn't mean that my whole that's kind of my whole life.
Oh fuck. Yeah. We just disproved our own argument.
Oh shit. Yeah. I love it too when people ask me what my tattoos mean. It's like I like the picture. I don't know.
It mean robot and rocket. That's it. That's all it means.
Well, the rocket kind of looks like an emoji, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I just really like emoji. It looks like the rocket ship emoji. I realize I
suppose so. Yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be my first thought, but then again, I guess I'm not an emoji boy.
Yeah, because I always say, I'm just working on getting all the emojis.
That's true.
Which would be great.
Yeah, you could get them all on your back, and then whenever you have a thing to express, you just have one of those little hand back scratchers, and you point to the emoji.
Exactly. How you feeling today? And then I just point to sad face.
That'd be good.
Well, I guess we will wish you all adieu.
Yeah, we'll bid you adieu.
Mm-hmm. And
goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Work, Sky Moon.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.